Move on to other things. We got to talk about Tony Danza today. We got to talk about Club Soda Kenny.
Club Soda Kenny all over the news.
He was in the New York Times yesterday. They got his picture in front of the American flag.
Hi.
Anyone else find that really funny?
Very funny.
It's a freedom of speech issue with his job, and he's in a little bit of a jam, but hopefully he can get out of it.
And now the news is picking up on the story. We got some...
Really?
We got Fox 5, News 12, WB11, all talking about Club Soda Kenny.
Club Soda Kenny.
And then we got Club Soda Kenny being discussed on The View.
What?
I swear to God.
The View ladies decided to give it a little whirl.
We should talk about Club Soda Kenny. God, we have so much to do. What a pain in the ass. We have too much to do.
Hi. Poor Kenny.
Yeah,
Some on TV, all just moping around. Usually when you see Kenny, he's smiling and happy. Hi, it's so good to see you today, handsome. What can I do for you? And then he's got like some advisor, lawyer, I don't know what he is, the guy that's with him. And he's just kind of walking behind him, kind of looking all apologetic.
He's got a First Amendment lawyer.
Is that what he got?
There was an article in the New York Times yesterday in Club Soda Kenny, as serious could be, his picture's being taken in front of a American flag. For the people that haven't heard, Club Soda Kenny is a very good friend of ours.
Yeah.
We met him through Dice, I don't even know, 5-6 years ago probably. We met Club Soda Kenny about the time we met little Jimmy Norton, actually.
Jimmy.
And he's been a real friend for many years. He helps us out a lot.
On the road, takes care of us.
Just a great guy. A great guy. And he got in some trouble. Someone want to explain, Jimmy? Because it's.
Well, he's a decorated cop. A lot of people didn't know he was a cop. It's not something he talks about.
He kept it completely separate. We all knew, obviously.
I'm a cop, you idiot.
Yeah. And he did occasionally would do stand-up comedy. I don't think he was ever paid for it. I mean, he's not great at it. It was like a pressure valve release. It would tell dirty jokes on a stage. And years ago, Dice would call him up out of the audience to come up and tell some silly jokes. And it was just, just a thing he did, like a hobby.
And some cops blow off steam by punching their wife in the face.
Dude, absolutely. Or they drink.
Yeah, drink. And others maybe go up on stage and blast out a few jokes.
And his whole purpose when he did it was to be as shocking as possible.
Over the top. That was more the gag than the jokes he was telling.
Yes.
It's not, you can't take the jokes that he was telling in the context of just him speaking. It was the shocking thing, and people are saying, well, the whole shock comic, like when Dice was doing it and stuff. This is 50 times worse than what Dice was doing. It's just like that type of thing, and it was his delivery, the way he looked. And what he was saying that was so shocking, that was the bit.
And he was so menacing on the stage, no one was going to tell him to shut up.
No.
That's what was so funny about the whole thing. You couldn't believe you were watching it.
Yeah. It was a goof. The whole thing was a goof.
Right.
It was like an ironic thing with just dirty jokes. It was just this big horse's ass on stage. It was a joke.
It had to be that outrageous for the act to work.
Yeah.
He couldn't go up there and tell mediocre jokes. It would just be like, this guy sucks. But they're so bad and so over the top and so like such black comedy that that was the gag, and that's what made it funny to watch.
Yeah.
And the more I read about this, the more the West Orange Police Department just looks ridiculous. I mean, you guys look ridiculous. Just some got blown off steam in his personal life, not even using his real name, telling dirty jokes. You're going to take his pension away from it. It's just mind-boggling.
And we weren't sure the last time we were on the radio, but they have now officially charged him with all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All sorts of stuff, threatened to fire him and take his pension away.
Yeah.
He's been on the job for well over 20 years.
Oh, yeah, almost 25.
Almost 25 years.
Almost 25 years. He's shooting for that 25-year pension, and they're looking to, after how many years he's been there, take it all away. Like everything he did before that was shit because he was telling a few dirty jokes on a stage.
And some ass was in the audience, I guess, at the Laugh Factory. Someone that had it out for him. I'm very suspicious, by the way. I'm really wondering who was the one that decided to rat out Club Soda Kenny. They're saying it might have been someone that had a problem with him.
Well, these internal affairs.
Yeah.
So you make a lot of enemies on the police force when you're internal affairs.
Could be somebody he busted who saw him online,
Right.
or heard about it. Could be somebody he busted, or it could be a cop who he fucked with, or anybody.
The guy saw his act and anonymously got a copy of the act, which is a little strange, and sent it in, and got him in a world of hurt. And now he's the poster child for freedom of speech and the First Amendment, which is, no offense to our pal, is really funny. The New York Times picture is really, really funny.
Oh, Jesus.
Look at him.
All they show is that big head.
With a shadow on half his face and the American flag in the background.
Freedom.
And he couldn't look more serious.
It's amazing. And the Times, everybody seems to be taking his side because it's such an obvious thing. It's a mind-boggling that they would even... The police department just has to back off. You're wrong about this one. You're wrong.
Yeah,
You're wrong.
This has some legs, like we've said last week, I guess. He's going to end up on Sean Hannity. You watch. Now that it made the Times, Sean Hannity's going to be calling and wanting to have Club Soda Kenny and his lawyer on the show.
People scrutinize what cops do in their off hours because technically a cop is never off duty.
Sure.
They have to keep up that decorum during 24 hours a day. But they are due a private life, a personal life, some way to enjoy themselves, hobbies, things to blow off steam. And this was one of the things. And this is what Kenny did. He didn't do it as a police officer. He did it as Club Soda Kenny under an assumed name. Never addressed the fact that he was a cop. And I think police are allowed to have a personal life. Are you going to start firing cops for what movies they like watching, at their house, things that they like doing in the privacy of their bedroom, stuff like that? I mean, the guy he always made a point of telling everybody, don't let on that I'm a cop. This is a separate thing. Kept it separate. I think that should absolutely bail him out of this.
It's really embarrassing for that police department that you're going after a guy for naughty language. What if he was reading poetry that was, I mean, this might sound like a dumb example, but what if he was reading poetry that was political in nature, that was completely disagreeable with your philosophies at the police department? Is he not allowed to do that as a citizen? I mean, I understand you're a police officer all the time, but how about this? He wasn't doing anything illegal.
No.
He was in his own time telling naughty jokes for free in an adult nightclub that was booked Cringe Humor. Because CringeHumor.net books that show.
Yep.
It's cringe comics. That's what you do there. Everybody walking through the door knows that's what they're getting. That's why they go.
Right.
It's not like he's doing what he says in his act.
No.
He's just, like I said, it's so over the top, and that's the gag. That's the gag, is that it's so over the top.
You know what he does on the road? He's a bore. He gets your coffee and he calls home. Hello, son. He's a fucking family man. He does nothing fun on the road. He's not a wild guy.
And they had not one bad thing to say about his over 20-year record on the police force. It was nothing but good comments about what he did on the job. He was a great cop.
Yeah. I was talking to him yesterday. There's a couple things going on. He has a new slogan.
Uh-oh.
It's called O&A all the way.
I like it.
It rhymes.
O&A all the way. Remember that. And then he goes, when it's time to tell my story, it'll be an exclusive on your show on XM Satellite Radio.
Well, we get the exclusive.
It would be really funny if Kenny went on Howard.
That phony motherfucker.
And then he goes, O&A all the way. So the news is all over it. It made the Times yesterday. That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Well, they've had to deal with this freedom of speech shit. Like, even the news, who probably finds his act repulsive, which it is, you can't. You just can't silence a guy because he's doing dirty jokes in a nightclub. I'm sorry. You can't punish him and take away his livelihood.
No.
There's a couple people that disagree with us here.
Okay.
Ron in D.C. Ron?
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
How's it going, guys?
Hi, sweetie.
You don't know what you're talking about. Stop.
Yeah, thrill home.
I can't handle anyone not agreeing with me.
I'm a retired sergeant from D.C. Police,
Okay.
and I worked in internal affairs. And it seems to me that this police department that Kenny works with must be small time,
Yeah.
and they don't have a whole lot to do. I mean, when I was with IAD, we were locking up policemen who were running drugs, running guns for gangs, involved in murders, and I'd just like to go on record as to say that in more cases than not, internal affairs will clear a police officer rather than what they say jam them. I mean, if you got a policeman out there running guns for a gang, he needs to be jammed.
Yep.
He needs to be locked
Yeah,
up.
I've heard that one. Yeah, they jammed him up. He's jammed up.
Something like this with Kenny is bullshit. Like I said, that West Orange Police Department must have nothing to do.
I agree.
All right.
Okay, well,
oh, sorry. Thank you, buddy. I'm just
You
trying
cut
to
him off.
I'm just trying to get a few people in. That wasn't a dump or anything.
Damn you.
Smitty in Jersey.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, man.
Hey, I'm on the job in Jersey. Let me tell you, I can't go out for a drink. I can't do anything anywhere near where I work because everybody's got something to fucking say about what the cops are doing when, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't do it in West Orange, by the way, either.
It was in New York.
It was in Manhattan.
Yeah, but you guys are nationally broadcast, so that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still like when you're dealing with a cop's private life. I understand that there's a code you have to adhere to because you are a police officer 24 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. But again, the activity was completely legal. The setting was completely appropriate, and he wasn't moonlighting. He did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. Nothing.
What if he was in a play? What if he was in a play playing a pedophile? Let's see, he's an aspiring actor, and off-duty, he goes to a community playhouse where there's an audience, and he gets up there and plays the part of a pedophile and, takes his bows, leaves the stage. What about that? Is there a reason to fire him for that?
No, it's ridiculous. You can't do anything without somebody having something to say about it because you're held to.
I could understand if a cop goes into a bar and he starts getting drunk and he's grab-assing on chicks and starting fights. That's one thing of being off duty and kind of putting a black mark on the police department. But when you're just doing something that you like doing, it's a hobby, it's harmless, it's completely legal. I don't understand. They have no right to fire the guy and take away his pension.
Absolutely. Thanks, fellas. I'm punching out.
Thanks, man.
All right, thanks, Smitty.
Why is comedy so much different than if he was just playing the part of a despicable person?
It's always, why was Lenny Bruce arrested, and yet Richard Widmark in the 40s played a guy who pushed an old lady down the stairs in a wheelchair, which was great. But, I mean, Richard Widmark played a cop killer, a murderer. You know what I do to squealers? I give it to him in the belly. And yet Lenny Bruce, for telling naughty jokes, is arrested. There's always been a double standard for
Let me tell you
humor.
something, though. I would like to see Kenny push an old lady down the stairs in a wheelchair.
Or play a pedophile in a play, because he's not a good actor, I imagine.
That would really be funny.
Why have I been cursed with this desire?
I don't know. I don't think prison will help. I feel these urges.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. Cut.
By the way, the pictures of Jim Norton are up on opieandanthony.com.
Already.
Of his brand new haircut.
Hairdo.
Hairdo. There it is. It's not too bad, right?
Ooh.
I look very handsome in my new hair.
Yeah, you sure
Hairdo.
do. Go
The way
to
people are
opieandanthony.com
referring
and see
to
what
it-
Jimmy did to his head.
Is, hey, who's that guy with the fancy hairdo?
Was a soup bowl used?
No, it's just me.
Really?
Looking at pictures of cool people.
All right. Guys, let's play some of the news reports on our pal Club Soda Kenny here. Fox 5 here in New York.
A suspended police sergeant is defending the raunchy comedy act that got him in trouble. Now, by day, John Federer works for the West Orange Police Department. But by night, he is Club Soda Kenny. Now he's on the brink of...
How funny is... and not the situation. I really feel for the guy. Very serious. I want this to work out. Nothing but the best for Kenny.
You know, we're having fun with this, but the guy is shitting a brick.
It is so
He's got a
funny
family to support.
hear his fucking name like this in the news.
Especially since, like, when they intro somebody like that, it's for a string of rape and murders.
Right.
By day, he's a lawyer. By night, he's the hillside strangler. But no.
Yeah.
By night, he's got his bag,
He's
man.
Club Soda Kenny.
Yeah, it sounds like a
He
mafia
was out
thing.
with Vinny the Nose last night, beating black people.
And they found the dead body with a lime in its mouth. A true calling card of Club Soda Kenny.
2 little straws were plunged up his nose, and a lime was in his mouth.
He's the swizzle stick killer.
All right, back to Fox.
Burping was heard in the area that Club Soda Kenny struck at.
Back to Fox 5.
He's on the brink of losing his job and his pension. Police supervisors say that they're outraged that Sergeant Feder was cracking jokes about bestiality and bladder control. But Feder's lawyers say that this is a case of free speech.
When he goes on stage to entertain an audience. When he puts on the uniform, he holds himself to the highest standard and protects the public.
And we put out a call to the West Orange Police Department, and so far we haven't heard back. A departmental hearing is scheduled for next week.
So it's an ongoing story.
Next week, they have a little hearing. Hopefully, he makes out well. At the very least, give the guy the pension that he earned, putting his life on the line for 20-some-odd years so he could support his family. Take that away. How do you take away over 20 years of a guy's career, putting it in, life on the line for telling some dirty jokes?
Dirty.
Stop it.
Cops have the gallows humor. They all, I don't think any cop would deny it.
Right.
It just comes with that job. It's a fucking stressful, brutal job. You're a target to be shot at.
Yep.
Constantly.
All right, here's News 12 in Jersey, I guess.
A West Orange police sergeant was suspended without pay. This after his bosses learned he's been performing as a racy stand-up comedian. Sergeant John Feder was also a guest on the popular radio show Opie and Anthony. Right now, News 12 New Jersey's Michael Weber reports some of his material was no laughing matter.
We gotta sing a Christmas carol for the radio.
This is video from the comic Club Soda Kenny when he took a busload of homeless people to the Palisades Mall.
You know what? They're showing him he already has more TV credits than Bob Kelly. Do you realize that?
Dude, why'd you say that, dude?
I'll bite you.
For the radio.
This is video from the comic Club Soda Kenny when he took a busload of homeless people to the Palisades Mall for a radio stunt. This is Kenny from a stand-up act, and as you'll hear, his subject matter is quite offensive.
You know the blacks take the best jobs.
If Club Soda Kenny was just a comic, this wouldn't be that big of a deal, except Kenny leads another life. He's a sergeant in the West Orange Police Force. Now he's temporarily off and suspended after some of his bosses were sent tapes of his act anonymously.
Agency policy that's consistent with state guidelines precludes me from commenting further on this ongoing internal investigation.
We went to Sergeant Feder's home. While inside, he told us he wasn't talking.
It would have been great if he just opened the door with that goofy look.
Hi, please come in.
Can I help you?
Just nude and draped on a flag like he's lost his mind.
Mi casa es su casa. Naked in the flag.
With a fucking Statue of Liberty torch with sparkles coming out of it.
Let freedom ring, my friend.
But it figures that the news shows the racial joke. This is all about being politically correct, and the department doesn't want to take any heat because he said politically incorrect things.
While inside, he told us he wasn't talking. But on the streets of West Orange, the people he serves were.
He should have some kind of discipline done to him, you know. At this times are hard enough, you know, so, maybe he'll learn from this.
Let's see, was he black?
This former city worker who said,
Gee, what a shock. The black guy wants the cop disciplined.
Yeah.
The odds of that have to be 100%.
Jimmy could be more than that.
It could possibly be everyone.
They found one supporter. You can't see the video. Maybe are these going to be up on opieandanthony.com? They should be.
Let me tell you what
the news reports of Club Soda Kenny.
They look for, and I'm telling you, when I did the 2020 thing, they wanted people to be offended by what I was saying.
Of course.
They look for a certain reaction.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows Kenny is right. Even the news knows he's right. So they got to find some people for a counterpoint of view. It's just like it seems more interesting.
Yep.
Everyone knows the guy's
Well, the
right.
guy they found to support Kenny. Ooh,
Guy looked like a drunk homeless.
Looked like he just stumbled out of a bar somewhere.
former city worker who says he knows Sergeant Fetter for years says, don't believe everything you hear.
I like the guy. He's a nice guy. And,
You think he's getting a bum rap here, or what?
yeah.
We'll see if Club Soda Kenny will be able to go back on the stage and back on the force. In West Orange, Michael Weber, News 12, New Jersey.
Depending upon the outcome of the investigations, Sergeant Fetter could be fired and lose his pension. He's been on the force since 1984.
1984. And they're just, we'll take away your pension because you told a dirty joke.
Take away the fucking money from his wife and kids because he told some dirty jokes.
That's good.
What irrelevant
What do you
thinking.
get for over 20 years, 22 years that you put in? But that goes away because you tell a little joke about black people, or you make a little joke, a little off-color, dark humor about kids. Stop.
How about if he got shot? What would he get then? A fucking handshake from the mayor?
Yeah.
We got WB11 news in New York City.
All right, now to a story we first told you about last week. A New Jersey cop and part-time stand-up comic is coming under fire for his raunchy act. But it's no laughing matter.
All right.
Oh, with the no laughing matter.
Holy
we get
shit,
it.
We know it ties in.
Oh, no laughing matter.
Segway, Broadcast School 101.
Oh.
Laughing matter. His suspension is quickly turning into a battle between free speech and indecency.
But no, it takes too long, too many trips.
Want a good laugh? If you think this is funny, three jokesters doing a bit for Comedy Central on if all-you-can-eat buffets really are all-you-can-eat, thus the buckets and the shovels. Check out the big guy. His name on the comedy circuit is Club Soda Kenny. He got it hanging out with Andrew Dice Clay, who in his act would say, "Get me a club soda, Kenny."
You make good food.
But in New Jersey, his title is Sergeant. John Fetter is a West Orange cop.
John Fetter is an entertainer, a professional entertainer who was out there to appease an audience.
West Orange officials didn't find him funny and suspended the veteran officer of 22 years after receiving an anonymous tape of his stand-up act where he jokes about having sex with his dog and molesting his son.
Based on the information that we received.
This is just like the crap that we had to deal with.
Oh, my God. I know. You just don't want to hear it.
And you watch this stuff going,
Oh, no.
I said that.
You know what?
Right.
Let me tell you something before you start that again. Anything of that nature taken out of the exact context that it's put in is awful.
Yep.
The guy is saying, here's a cop talking about molesting his kid and having sex with his dog. That sounds horrid. You put it in the context of this big oaf on a stage in front of a crowd that's expecting it as under the name Club Soda Kenny, not as an officer, and being so over the top. It fits. That's the only situation it fits in.
And have you ever seen his dog? I mean, I'm not a fan of dogs, but there's something about that animal.
So fuckable.
You want to fuck it.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah.
And
like my new hairdo.
Let's say this morning. Kenny is a great father.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
A great father.
That's what he does on the road. He calls his kids and his wife, and that's what he'll say. Hello, son. Talk about school. He's a bore on the road. I mean, no offense, Kenny, but he does nothing.
You know, I'll let you in on a little secret. I really don't think he was talking about his actual family.
No.
His actual kid and dog and wife. I really don't think he, what was one of his jokes about his wife? Comes on.
She might be listening. I mean,
that was really a heinous joke, but
I don't want to be in that household right now, so let's give the guy a break.
The truth of the matter is, it's an act.
Right.
He is acting.
Right.
The people he's talking about aren't real. They are caricatures, not his real kid.
Right.
Stop it already. He's a great father and family man.
Sex with his dog and molesting his son.
Based on the information that we received, Sergeant Fetter was suspended without pay pending the outcome of the investigation.
The deputy chief wouldn't elaborate whether it was the material or whether Sergeant Fetter broke a moonlighting rule by taking on a second job without permission.
It's absolutely unequivocally the material, and that's why it's a clear violation of Sergeant John Fetter's First Amendment rights.
The cop with the jokes didn't crack a smile and wouldn't say a word. It's serious business now. His job is on the line, and his right to free speech is at risk.
Comedy routines go pretty far these days, and it seems to be sort of par for the course. And I'd say it's protected by the First Amendment.
Speaking of routines, this is how this one ended.
Did you call the police? Hey guys, they just called the cops.
Right now we're making our getaway.
So who will get the last laugh? We'll find out when the department holds a hearing later this month on the 23rd.
I guess they got a lot of video of Opie and Anthony stuff and decide, this is shocking.
Meet the creeps.
A cop actually saying the cops are here and we're getting away. That was a
cops
joke,
are coming.
How many fucking laugh, serious puns, word plays can they do?
Yeah.
On the fucking news.
We followed Club Soda Kenny down the sidewalk where he actually told people they had dropped something when indeed they had not dropped anything. These people turned around to look and did look quite ridiculous.
Oh, poor bastard is just being hung out to dry.
Then there's the "what time is it" gag, where he'll walk up to somebody on the sidewalk, ask them what time it is. When they look at their watch, he simply walks away.
God damn, that is funny to watch him do.
Hilarious.
What time is it? Oh, it's... and gone. He's just gone.
Here comes Club Soda Kenny, he's big and stupid. 6'5" killer who skips, and if the shoe fits, it's big. Hope you're ready, cause here comes Club Soda Kenny.
Thank you. You're welcome, Kenny. See, that's going to be his intro when he gives us the exclusive.
The skinny.
The skinny.
Yeah.
Because he now says O&A all the way.
O&A all the way.
Well, this is blown up. It's going to get even bigger than this. And, well, The View. The View had to sit around and discuss Club Soda.
Great.
Those fucking hens.
And they're just so knowledgeable. You ready for this? It's going to enrage us.
All right, I want to switch gears, actually. Let's talk about a gentleman named John Feder. You may have heard of this man. He's a 22-year veteran with the West Orange, New Jersey police force, but by night he's known as Club Soda Kenny. He's a comic in the evenings, and what he does is very off-color humor, a lot about rape and pedophilia and bestiality, and the department just found out about this, and they've suspended him, and they may fire him. Do you think it's fair, or is it a violation of his First Amendment rights for the department to say, hey...
Wait. I want to predict. I didn't watch this.
Yeah, I want to predict, too.
Let's see. I think Barbara Walters will find him repulsive and kind of side with him just because she's media. Star Jones, black, forget it. Completely get. Here they ought to fire him.
I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer, though.
Oh, is she a lawyer?
She's a lawyer. That's what she says. I don't know.
Maybe she isn't. Okay.
Blackness trumps lawyer.
I think blackness. Yeah. And who else? They got the
Joy.
Mom in there.
I like
Joy, I think,
Joy Behar's a comic.
She'll be behind him. I think Joy will be behind him.
She's on TV, though, so she won't. I met her.
Behind
when she's not on TV, she's a lot different.
She might have some balls.
She's a stand-up.
And
She's
Meredith,
a stand-up,
being
so
the
hope
mom.
That she would defend.
What's the matter, Than?
Don't tell us.
I won't. I just wanted
kiss you.
to interject that Star Jones couldn't make it because of the snow, so she's not part of this discussion.
She's not?
Who couldn't get into work?
It was a flight thing.
A flight thing. What? Big C-130 couldn't drop her ass? She's not fat anymore. Damn it.
That doesn't matter. She's
still got a huge head.
She's still a fatso in a little body.
Big
With
fat
a face
head.
that looks like it's melting.
She's just awful.
And seemed like a good idea at the time to... Sometimes, you can get your stomach stapled and it works out for you. Other times, your head looks like it's melting.
She's Foundry Music star. Star from Yellowstone.
Steve got the stomach stapled and he looks proportional.
He looks good.
There's nothing wrong with him. But then you see the Star Jones and her face looks like it's melting right away.
Ew, did you hear me just be the hole? You said fucking he got his thing. I'm like, he looks good. I just chimed in with nothing.
Looks good. He looks good.
Oh, Opie.
What?
Opie now.
Fan.
And the last member is the survivor girl from The View. She's the last.
All right. What about Meredith? Is she there?
She's the ringleader, yes.
Meredith, I say her being a mom, the soccer mom type woman of the whole thing is just going to be repulsed and thinks he should be killed.
So it's Meredith, Barbara, the fucking survivor hole, and who else?
Joy.
And
Joy. What do you think?
It's going to be a clean sweep.
No, I think Joy's
No
going to be the
support.
only one that
No
supports.
support. Here we go.
Think it's fair? Or is it a violation of his First Amendment rights for the department to say, hey, we don't like what you're saying, even though you're doing it when you're off duty?
I believe you're not allowed to moonlight without the permission of the department. That's
So
where
that's
they're
how
going
they
to
would get him.
That's in his contract. That's breaking.
But there is something.
How do you know that's in his contract?
Yeah,
You're on an island getting bitten by bugs and eating stupid shit. You're not an expert
Everyone
on
knows.
this.
Everyone's an expert in
It was
the
in
law.
his contract. Did you read his contract?
They do have microphones. They are little.
Oh, good
pinned
point,
to their
Anthony.
lapel,
Good
but
point.
Once you got a mic in front of you,
Then you
as
are
we
an
know,
expert. You're right.
true expert.
You're right.
So that's
So
where
that's
they're
how
going
they
to
would get him.
That's in his contract. That's breaking.
But there is something that could be called, and we have it ourselves. His is called conduct unbecoming an officer.
To the department.
And some of his routine talked about, I'm reading it, raping a bride at knife point and molesting his own 5-year-old son.
Is that funny?
Not to me, but we don't know the whole context.
I mean,
But it's-
Chris Rock in the old days used to do jokes about date rape when I'd be standing there and saying, Chris, it's not funny. But Richard Pryor did everything. And so it depends on how it's done. We don't know this. We don't know what the jokes. But an officer supposedly has a somewhat. That's a question.
not a
There's an
comedian.
officer.
Yeah, who was the hole that said, is that funny? Yeah,
Survivor.
to some people
Of
it is
course.
funny.
And besides, is supposedly a word?
No.
Dumb fucking Barbara Walters. You've been in the media for 40 years. Supposedly.
She can't speak. She's got the
Oh, she's.
weird lisp
I know. I
thing.
just wondered who Richard Pryor is.
Richard Pryor.
I never heard of Richard Pryor. Fucking dope.
Is that funny? Well, to some people it is.
Yes.
Tough shit.
And hot.
Especially because they're dealing with those issues as an officer, often with women getting raped or children, child abuse. So, and here he is making jokes
Yeah,
about
so
it.
maybe making jokes about it takes the fucking stress and strain off of it instead of dealing with it. Oh, someone hits on that?
Just you wait, Anthony.
Thank you, Than.
Abuse. So, and here he is making jokes about it.
You don't know
and
what
they-
he said. You can't judge the guy until you hear
No,
the
I'm
act.
just saying, I can see the department feeling that was inappropriate material,
But
given
they
what he
didn't
does.
hear it either.
Given his job.
Yeah, they did. They got a tape of it.
Oh, now they got a tape.
They have a
I'm
tape
sure they have a tape of it, just even on paper. I just don't see how doing what he does, that can be remotely funny.
Of course you don't.
Other people find it funny, you hole!
Jesus.
Holy God, it drives me
Of
fucking
course.
nuts. Just because you don't find it funny, that's fine. But you know what? People do find it funny.
People
Tough shit.
think if
that's
they
what
don't
comedy's
find
all about.
shit funny, it ain't
It
funny.
ain't funny. That
right.
drives me nuts.
You hear Joy Behar going to bat for him, though? She's
Yeah.
like,
Well,
as
she's
a comic,
comedian,
of
so-
course.
and I'm relieved that she,
Yes.
yeah, because it's a weird situation
Sure.
that she's in, because she's got a lot of fat housewives watching her every day. But that other stupid Survivor bitch.
What do you expect, dude?
And then
That's
and
like-
then she said, "Did you hear her?" She goes, "Oh, they had a tape of it." And she goes, "Well, a tape, but even reading it on paper, I
Right,
see that.
right.
Like you wouldn't get a little more out of it watching it in the context
Right,
of an act,
right.
as you would read as a transcript that looks like a serial killer confession."
And that stupid Survivor hole, she might find some things funny that I don't.
I'm sure
But I'm not
everything
gonna-
she finds funny, I would find not
And
funny.
I find
I'm
her
not gonna-
show offensive and awful.
But I'm not going to question that. If you find it funny, well, laugh yourself silly. Great.
Silly.
Great. But to think that I don't find it funny, so it's not funny, that attitude drives me nuts.
She's a fucking hen. Who cares? She's a cackling, kvetching twat. There are people out there that will find my hairdo to be unstylish. As remarkable as that is to people here to hear.
I'd call them crazy.
They're nuts.
You know what that show needs? A cock.
Yeah.
A guy that just sits there and goes, "Oh, now."
You know what that show needs? A fucking padlocked door and a fire.
How doing what he does, that can be remotely funny. Not at all. I don't think.
I want to hear that again just so I could be annoyed again. Because I cannot believe how people think sometimes.
He does, given his job.
Yeah, they did. They got a tape of it.
Oh, now they got a tape.
They have a
I'm
tape
sure they
of
have
it.
a tape of it, just even on paper. I just don't see how doing what he does, that can be remotely funny. Not
You
at
know
all. I
what?
don't
There
think
are
it's funny.
limits to all comedy also, but the audience usually tells you if you've gone over the edge, and the booker will not book you there again. So it's it's
I
it's
wonder
like
about
capitalistic.
I wonder about the humor in the police department itself, because, Barbara, you can attest to this as well. In the newsroom, whenever there is a tragedy, the jokes start flying because people use it as a release.
Yes.
And if you ever walked in a newsroom right after something horrible, you would be in shock.
And Wall Street,
At the
too.
kind, Wall Street, that's
yeah,
where
they-
usually the jokes start.
That's right.
As well.
Notice Barbara's not touching that one?
Yeah.
Well, I like the fact that was raised, though. Good, and the fact
Yeah,
that even in the
and that it
newsroom.
wasn't the police department, it's in the newsroom. You know damn well when they get that footage of the fat person that jumps off the fucking roof and splats on the sidewalk, that they're all goofing on it. They're in there mixing and cutting and doing things going, hey, you got get Bob. He loves this shit. Look at the splat. Look how many times you think this guy bounces. I'll bet you. That's what they do. It's to deal with the fact that you're looking at something god-awful.
At the kind of Wall Street, that's where usually the jokes start.
That's right.
It's Wall Street. So it's very offensive comment.
It's offensive, but in a strange way, it's a relief.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, maybe that's what this cop is doing. I mean, we don't know. We have to be there. And I'm not defending pedophilia jokes.
Right,
exactly.
I don't do them.
You know what? Well, they did a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, not bad.
Pretty good job with it. Just, the stupid Survivor.
What do you expect, dude? She's a fucking reality show pig.
Funny.
I don't know how you could laugh at that.
I don't find it funny.
You should see me jerk off to it. Stupid. Good for Joy Behar. Fucking going to bat for him. Good for her. Fucking true comic.
Our joke quote is going way up this morning because we have to deal with the horrific hairdo you got.
I don't like that type of an adjective. The words, as I said before, stylish, fashionable, handsome, and hip are the words you'll use for my hairdo.
Let me tell you something. It's not only fashionable, but I'm noticing functional. Because it clears the way for your headphones.
That's right.
That is now perfectly seated. Your headphones, nothing, no hairs in the way.
Dude, this is what you got to do.
Get the camera.
Take the headphones
really
home
funny.
with you, grow in the hair, and then just cut out the hair.
The round part around the headphones.
That would look silly, Ope.
That might look silly.
Where it looks completely normal until you take your headphones
To the
off.
side. Wait, go ahead. Oh, not yet.
What are you doing now? Oh, okay.
Oh,
Now he's
God.
gonna say-
I aims to kill you with it.
Let's say hi to Ass Marshmallow.
Good boy.
Yo.
What's up, Ass?
So should we assume that Keith the cop might not be around for a while, or
He doesn't do anything unbecoming an officer, though, dude. A lot of times it's just to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, he's helping with security sometimes.
That's right. All right.
Don't worry about that.
All right, well, there you go. It's an ongoing story. It's going to blow up. It's going to blow up on our pal Club Soda Kenny.
And we'll wait for the
exclusive.
hearing next week, and then the exclusive. O&A all the way is his motto.
Do you know there is a weird part of me that would love to see him almost lose because then he could sue, and I would love to see him take those fucking idiots for millions. That's like a civil rights fight. I would love to see him just drain their assholes in the civil court.
It is freedom of speech, man.
It's a really big issue.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On the